By now you're probably fed up of watching these videos, searching for the correct answer, whilst every video says the same thing. Eat in a calorie deficit, do cardio, sleep more, try harder. All of these are true, but not exactly helpful. Guys don't struggle with the idea that they need to eat less and do more to lose weight, but actually how to realistically apply that to their life without falling off the bandwagon. And for anyone that's new here, I'm not a full-time fitness coach. I'm a financial analyst based in London, and the whole reason I started this channel is because I genuinely couldn't find content that spoke to guys like me, people with demanding jobs, long hours, real lives, who still want to be in unbelievable shape. So everything I talk about on here comes from actually living that. And I don't have the luxury of making fitness my entire personality. So with that in mind, these are the 5 mistakes you cannot ignore if you're trying to make real physical change this year. First of all, the number one biggest mistake guys make is not knowing what to aim for. Imagine if you started a new job, but you didn't know what the career progression was, what your salary was, or even where your office was. You'd be completely lost and you'd probably not choose that job in the first place. Fat loss is no different, but most guys will start with the intention of losing weight without knowing how much to lose a week, what body weight to aim for, or how they're going to get there. So the first thing you need to do is figure out a timeline. Perhaps you're currently 200 pounds and you want to lose 20 pounds of fat. We know that we can lose 1% of body weight a week reliably, which is 2 pounds. So that takes you to a 10-week timeline, perhaps 12 to 15 weeks if we had a buffer for life getting in the way. And by knowing what to aim for, you now have a weekly tangible target to achieve. And this will let you make an informed decision as of how much food to eat and how much cardio to do. The second biggest mistake is what I call the self-destruct button. Inevitably, life will get in the way. You'll have social events to attend, perhaps a work dinner or drinks. And what happens is you go, you tell yourself you'll be good, but then you have one drink you didn't plan for and think, well, I've had one and ruined today. Let's start again tomorrow. And so then what happens is you have 5 or 6 more beers, you have no restraint, and then you wake up the next morning feeling a terrible sense of guilt. The reality is the guy that had one drink off plan but called it there only added 150 calories. Over a week, that's only 20 calories per day and not enough to affect his progress. But the guy that had 6 more drinks, a takeaway, and then spent the next day making poor decisions, actually added 2,000 to 3,000 calories to his weekly intake, which completely destroyed his deficit. The problem isn't going off plan marginally on the occasion. It's where you treat going off plan as a failure and decide that you may as well go all in. Success isn't derived from just one day in a deficit. It's how everything accumulates over the week to create that prolonged deficit. Number 3 is something that frustrates me because you'll often see qualified personal trainers recommending this, but it's trying to burn calories through resistance training. Realistically, your weight sessions have very minimal energy demand, and by trying to make your workouts more intense to burn more calories, you'll remove the purpose of resistance training in the first place, which is to create a muscular stimulus whilst accumulating as little fatigue as possible. Muscle growth works best when we take long rest periods, push close to failure, low rep sets. We don't want to be leaving the gym really fatigued. You shouldn't be doing 30-second rest periods or stupidly high reps or drop sets or supersets. In fact, you should treat your training completely separate to the diet. It isn't a variable we want to use to lose body fat, but purely to maintain muscle. And we don't want to factor in the fact that your smartwatch says you burnt 300 calories from your training session into our calorie targets. So whilst resistance training is a non-negotiable during a fat loss phase, it definitely isn't a primary driver of a calorie deficit. Number 4 is obvious on paper, but stay with me because it's how you manage alcohol. Most PTs will sell you the dream that you can make good progress whilst drinking alcohol, and that will have a downstream impact on the rest of the week, not just the night following. So my biggest piece of advice is to cut it out entirely. It might seem difficult at the start. I know for myself, with drinking culture being a big part of my career, it was tough, but eventually it becomes second nature to just have a 0% beer or a sparkling water. And honestly, the idea of having a drink eventually becomes really unappealing once you realise how much better you feel without it. If you are adamant about drinking, however, set yourself restrictions before you go and come to terms with the fact it will have an effect on your progress. The last mistake is something everyone struggles with, and it's self-inflicted friction. And what I mean by that is just not being prepared. You react to the situation rather than being proactive. Lunchtime hits and you don't have a meal prepared, so you have to run to the shops, grab a sandwich because you've only got half an hour until a meeting, or you can't be bothered to cook because you need to do the washing up beforehand. You've got a gym session to do, but you've left it until 9 p.m. and you can't find clean gym clothes, so you put it off until tomorrow, and then the same happens again. The guys that make the most progress prepare beforehand. They dedicate some time on the weekend to meal prep, they get their training sessions in with ample time, they do their cardio early in the morning before the day gets busy, even if they're tired and they'd rather sleep in. They make the process of fat loss as easy as possible to follow, so that when life does get hard, the process of eating the right meals, going to the gym, and getting enough sleep is accessible as possible. So if you are spinning your wheels, feeling like no matter what you do, you can't lose weight, implement those 5 things for your current fat loss phase. Establish a timeline, don't press the self-destruct button, train with the intention to get stronger, ditch the booze, and simply be prepared. If you found this useful, drop a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.